Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here today with Eitan, and we are uncovering the secrets to lasting joy. If you look at humanity all over the world, there is one thing that links us all, and that is the quest to live a happy life. When you ask parents what do they want for their kids, they want their kids to be happy. When we think about how we want to spend our golden years, we think we want to just do the things that make us happy. So why is happiness so elusive, and how can we tap into lasting joy, not the kind that comes from something outside of us, but the kind of joy that comes from deep within? And what does this week offer us in that quest? Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most practical and powerful tools to navigate the coming 7 days from the teachings and tools of Kabbalah. So every episode ends up revealing powerful wisdom and tools you can not only use this week, but you can use any week of the year, any year of your life. And if you've been listening, you know that the last almost probably like 45 days or so have been very powerful and very instrumental in establishing the quality of our year, the quantity of our blessings. And this week is part of that journey as well. This week, Monday night, we're beginning the 7-day cosmic window called Sukkot. And in that knowing lies a lot of the secrets that we can break down for you today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Eitan. Where can we be focusing our consciousness and our energy this week to tap into lasting joy?
Yes, you said something important, Elisheva, the difference between external, I wouldn't call it joy, but I will call it excitement or happiness versus internal joy. And first, let's truly define for ourselves the difference. Excitement or happiness or moment of joy that depend on events of something that happened or didn't happen versus inner sense of joy and peace. The holiday of Sukkot that starts Monday night, one of the greatest benefits is opening our heart and our soul and our mind to truly feel inner joy. And the Kabbalists explain what's unique about this holiday that allows us to feel inner joy. So number one, the Creator never stopped sharing his beneficence. It's a constant light, love. And if we would be able to truly feel that energy, it will feel joy regardless challenges, ups and downs. We might still need to deal with the challenges, but deep inside in our heart, we would feel joy, gratitude, appreciation. So what's the difference these days that give us the chance? There's a concept that in the past we spoke about it, called inner light and surrounding light. Inner light is the level of light that we can experience, feel, the level of joy that we can experience, feel, receive, based on our level of consciousness. Surrounding light represent the level of enlightenment, the level of joy, that because we didn't earn yet greater consciousness to trust the Creator, to feel the Creator, it's there, but I'm not in touch with that. And there's a barrier between inner light and surrounding light. And the barrier is in our own mind. So basically, in the usual days of the year, every time I feel stress, every time I feel lack of peace, some kind of anxiety, which is the opposite of inner peace and joy, we would say, even though I feel right now anxious, I know there's a light of the Creator, the light of joy that's trying to share His beneficence with me. And the only reason I don't feel it because I'm not there yet. My vessel, my consciousness is not there. So that energy considered to be surrounding light. It's there. I need to trust that it's there, but I don't feel it. The secret of these days, according to the Kabbalists, that surrounding light, that my potential light that I'm not yet ready to handle, penetrate to our vessel in these 7 days. Penetrate to our body. Penetrate to our brain. So the secrets of these days is my potential can be actual, which means there is a way to feel the joy of the moment, regardless what's happening in my life. Because that belief system, when I will achieve, when I will change, when things will be better, that's when I will feel joy. We know it's an illusion, and all of us experience it, but the cosmic opening that we have this week, our future potential, which is 24/7 joy, is available to all of us, in spite of our barrier. That's the gift of these days. Of course, there's few prerequisites, which we'll speak soon about, but first to know that the true reality, which is 24/7 joy, regardless of what I'm going through, can break through the illusions of our mind. That's what's available.
I think what's great about what you shared is that it also hints to one of the great gifts of this week that might not even seem like it's connected to joy, but when you look deeper into it, it's really part of that formula for living in joy, regardless of what's going on around you. And that is something that we've spoken about before, but maybe not in this context, is that probably as spiritual people, we agree that everything happens for a reason. We teach in our classes that the light of the Creator is an elevating force. It always is pushing me toward my higher self, my ultimate goodness. And when I'm in a situation that maybe isn't ideal for me, or I'm not in love with it, or it's challenging for me, we tend to forget that the light of the Creator put me here, that this is for my highest good, that it's pushing me to my next level of me, which means next level of joy and blessings and miracles and all the things we talk about. But according to the Kabbalists, joy actually comes from the acknowledgement, the deep feeling that the Creator put me here. I'm here for a reason. How do I know I'm exactly where I need to be? Because that's where I am. I'm here. And connecting again and again, reminding ourselves every day that the light of the Creator put me here is where our joy can begin to grow. Meaning, you may wish another level in your career, in your relationship, in your health, and everything about your life. But the way to get there is not to find it and run towards it, but rather to be where you are fully and completely with a desire to reveal the light that you are meant to reveal where you are now. And knowing that you're exactly where you need to be. I think that that's why people feel so dissatisfied in life, is because their perception is, I should be somewhere else already. I should have been married already. I should have I should own a home already. I should have moved out, all the things that we should and shouldn't be doing. If you're where you are, which is where you are, the light of the creator thinks that you need to be there. And there is some specific light that you can be revealing there. And being in that mindset of what light how can I reveal light now? Even if I'm in the room with one person, I happen to be in the room now with no people, and I'm focusing on how can I reveal light where I am right now? So I can be driving in my car, I can be in my closet. It doesn't matter where on the planet physically I am. I'm there because there is something unique for me to do there. And when you shift into that mindset, which is really for me, when the Kabbalists always connect this week to strengthening our certainty. If your certainty is strengthened, so is your joy. Your absolute knowing that you are doing what you need to be doing, even if 5 minutes from now, it's going to be completely different. For this very moment, you're where you need to be, and there's a unique light you're meant to reveal there. And that's actually what reveals the next step and the next step and the next step. So if you feel stuck, blocked, trapped, that you don't have the solution, focusing on those two ideas. The light of the creator put me here. It's for my highest good. And what is the light? How can I share? How can I reveal light where I am right now? Will always reveal to me the next step and the next step and the next step, and bring more joy to the process. Because if you believe that there is a mistake, what are we saying when we say to ourselves, I should be in another place in my career already, or I should have a family already, all those things that people say to themselves, what are we really saying? The creator made a mistake. I'm not exactly where I should be. I'm not exactly in the highest place possible. And can we be in a better place at any given moment? Of course. There's always something better or else we can be doing in that moment. But where you are is where you're meant to be. And when you operate from that space, it really shifts your experience of it. You go from feeling disappointed and rejected and overlooked by the universe, by the creator, to feeling deeply connected and guided and present. And that changes everything.
Beautiful. And you said that this week as well connect to the concept of certainty. And specifically, another tool I would like all of us to keep in mind this week for Monday night for the 7 days is the idea of that holiday called Sukkot, which Sukkot represent the sukkah, the kind of a structure that's supposed to be vulnerable to nature, vulnerable to winds, vulnerable to rain. It cannot be a permanent structure, sukkah. What does it represent? It represents I'm stepping into a mindset. I have no control and I'm happy about it. Which leads us again to another angle to understand deeper the concept of joy and the difference between external joy and internal joy. Ask yourself, am I joyful now because things are under my control? Or am I joyful now in spite of the fact that things are not under my control and I proactively surrender and allow that flow of not being in control? And that's what this week is about. Proactively, we step into, I'm surrender to the light, to the idea that I have no control. Actually, the whole week is about take over. Surrender to nature, I'm surrendered to the creator, I'm surrendered to being in a structure that it's not as comfortable, not solid, not all fixed. It's called temporary, the Torah call it temporary house. Temporary means it cannot be fixed. The illusionary happiness in our life, I got enough money. I got my own home. I'm owning that piece of property. My name is already written. I achieved. Now I can relax and being a joy. We're not saying don't be a joy, but depending on joy that represent everything according to my plan. Everything goes according to my plan. I can see it, I can touch it. That's limited joy. Being open to what we said before, the surrounding light to penetrate to us, I need to proactively all this week telling myself, that's the mantra. I'm enjoying stepping into the dimension which is beyond my control, and I'm embracing it with love and joy. Whatever will happen today. I'm stepping out of the dimension of my control, and I'm stepping into the dimension of the Creator, which is beyond my control, with joy. While we all have goals, which is how we're trying to control our life, and part of our life we actually need to control. But this week is about enjoying the moment when I'm out of control. So that's another one. And the last one I would love you to speak about, Elisheva. We know that this week, in order to connect with the joy, unconditional joy, and stepping of the dimension beyond control, as the Kabbalah is saying, the week of Sukkot is the energy of Chasadim, which is the energy of love and caring about others as well, stepping outside of ourselves. So if you can elaborate on that.
For sure, for sure. And I think it's important to also point out that until now, and I'm sure everyone has felt it, I've heard from a lot of people, the energy has felt very intense, very focused, very... I just spoke with somebody who said it's been a battle and I'm still wearing my armor. Like there is an intensity to the month of Virgo and to the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because there is that element of judgment, right? Almost like the world is in suspended animation and things haven't been determined yet. So the intensity of the energy is very real. When we begin this week, actually after Yom Kippur, we enter this a different energy field that, as you said, we call Chasadim or mercy, and specifically Sukkot helps us. I want to say, even though you use the word like you don't really use the word download, but to me, I'm imagining it's like downloading this surrounding light. The energy of mercy is available more in like a absorbative way. That's the energy that's circulating in the universe, and the way that we tap into it is by creating an affinity with it, by acting, thinking, feeling in a merciful way. So one of the ways that the Kabbalists teach it's also one of the recipes for experiencing joy, is to share, is to be in service, to do acts of kindness, to do acts of charity, to be in what we call sharing mode. And even when we're in the Sukkah during this time, and where we have different prayers and meditations, one of the main focus for us in this time is actually sharing that light with the world, sending it out. Many times when we talk about connecting to the light of the Creator, we talk about filling our vessel, absorbing as much as we can, having strong desire. In line with that, the energy of mercy. This holiday, this week, is also very much about sharing that light with the world. But I think even more profoundly is looking at myself as an instrument for mercy. How in my daily life, and specifically this week, how can I operate from a place of mercy more frequently, more often in my day? And of course, it brings to mind the ways that we judge ourselves, the way that we judge others, the way that we're harsh with ourselves or others. And to me, exhibiting mercy is really about, how can I look at everyone and everything in the most compassionate way possible? So for example, and my kids will be my witnesses, every time we're driving in traffic and somebody is driving 90 miles an hour and everybody else is going 30, I always say, I hope that he has a woman in labor in his car and he has to get her to the hospital, right? Rather than being angry, he's dangerous, or meaning that you can look at every situation, even the most horrible situations, and understand that the people who are acting horribly because they themselves were treated horribly or have been hurt or you know, you don't have to go too far into their story, but just to understand that the nature of humanity is good, but it's all too easy to listen to that negative voice that each one of us has inside of us. And when we're completely ensconced with that voice, it's very hard to hear the voice of our soul. So practicing being in affinity with mercy this week is about sharing. It's about thinking of others, not only when you can physically give a compliment or do a nice action, that as well, but also even sending light to people that you know push your buttons, that give you a hard time, that you're not excited to be around. And finally, to really to be mindful of your thoughts this week, that your thoughts are focused on, you know, how can, I'll say it in a different way, assuming everyone is doing their best at all times with the knowledge and the tools that they have. So when you see somebody behaving badly, you understand, if I'm going to be annoyed, upset, frustrated, I'm taking myself out of alignment with the field of mercy. The best way to connect to it and to tap into it is to look at that situation in the most merciful way possible, which often means assuming this is their best. They can't do better than this right now, and that's okay too. Recognizing that it's up to me which field I fall into. I can be in the flow of mercy, or I can take myself out of the flow. No one can do it to me. And really staying in that mindset, in that frequency of mercy this week specifically, will leave an impression and create a vessel for that energy of mercy for the entire year.
Beautiful. Beautiful. The last thing I would say, it says that this week, which is responsible for energy of mercy, energy of joy for the whole year, recharging our battery, this is the 1 week we also focusing on world peace. Specifically, sending the vibes of peace and love for the whole world, part of your daily meditation. And the Zohar tells us something very powerful. It tells us, when people possess hate, while maybe during the year, don't attach yourself, don't connect, just bring light to the world with people that have hate. But in this week, envision that actually those people who have hate in their heart is because they have a major lack inside of them and they don't know how to handle that. So this is the time we want to send the light of the Creator to fill up their soul that lacking with light, and as a result to diffuse hate. This is the week to diffuse hate in the world. So actually going to the seed core level of hate, which is not knowing how to deal with lack and pain. And when people don't do it very often, the natural reactive self is to hate and to blame. So instead of dealing with the external dimension, change it in the seed level. And even if you have some difficult people around you, annoying people around you, this week, just close your eyes and think, deep inside, they need the light of the Creator. Because they operate from lack. Any hate and anger is a result of not knowing how to handle the lack that we feel inside. So diffusing hate in a source seed level.
It's such an exciting week. I sometimes think, I wish we could have it once a month rather than once a year. But I think if we take advantage and really utilize ourselves as instruments for the light of the Creator this week, it's not only, as you said, it's not only for us this week, it's for the entire world. And so to really, for each one of us to take that time in our meditations, in our prayers, to focus on the people that we know, as you said, are angry and hateful, and also the places in the world where there is anger, hatred, violence. We can use the energy of this week to dissipate that darkness And hopefully we'll see some changes in our world very soon. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on all those platforms to receive even more content to support you in living what we share every week. You can also visit weeklyenergyboost.com, where you can send us a message, search through our archives, find out what we think is important for our listeners to know about, and click the donate button to help make Weekly Energy Boost possible. But as always, and especially this week, think of 5 people you can share today's episode with. 5 people who are open, need the message, need the lesson, and can also share that message and that practice with the world. I'm sure next week will be a dramatically different reality for us to step into if everyone does that. So thank you all for listening, for doing the work with us, and we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.